Welcome to the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform Development bi-weekly call. It's November 21st. My name is David Warner. I'll be your host with Quizzitive today. And holy cow, everybody, how are we already in the end of November? This is our last general dev call together, so holy cow, that's right. But we have got some amazing things in store for you on this call. So we're going to have the latest updates on the community. We're going to talk about PNP.NET libraries and PowerShell. We're going to talk about the latest on script samples and ProDev samples with Copilot, Power Platform samples, and then, of course, everyone's favorite time, which is picture time. So get those fantastic faces ready. And then we'll get into our three amazing presenters of the day, a little bit of a shuffle from our original schedule, but it is going to be amazing nonetheless. Mohammed is going to talk about how to build Microsoft custom connector for Microsoft 365 roadmap content. And then Martin is going to share Teams shared voicemail for basic call flows. And then you guessed it, the one and only Chris Kent. He's going to be horsing around with some list formatting tips and tricks, so we can't wait to see it all. But first, if you're new here, or hey, if you're not new here, it's good to remember there are lots of resources available to each and every one of you. So what are some of those resources? Well, we've got our LinkedIn group for discussions. We've got our Microsoft community learning videos. We've got our open source tooling. We've got sample galleries galore, community samples that span things like Teams samples, SPFX web parts and extensions, Power Platform samples, and of course, list formatting samples, and so much more. And you might be thinking, my goodness, these are amazing. How much do they cost? Nothing. It is all free because it is made by wonderful people in the community just like you, and you can continue to help it grow. So do you need to remember all these URLs? Nope. Just one, aka.ms/community/home will give you access to that. And we've been working on some new exciting things around Blue Sky and new URLs, so stay tuned and be on the lookout for those. Now, you're on a community call, just in case you didn't know, but we hope you like it and you'll want to see more. So be aware of all these other amazing calls that we've got available to you. Our Microsoft 365 and Power Platform weekly call. Now, that's with Microsoft speakers, and that means you're going to hear it directly from the mothership. You're going to get it from those program managers and those product managers that are building the cool things that we work with each and every day. They're going to show you how things are going, progressing, some new features. It's a wonderful way to stay connected. We've also got our Power Platform monthly call, which just happened yesterday. So you could go back in time and watch it live if you've got a flux capacitor. If not, don't worry, we got to record it and you can watch it on our YouTube channel. We've got our Office add-ins, and then of course our sibling bi-weekly call for Microsoft 365 and Power Platform General Development, which you're on now, and the Viva Connections and SharePoint Framework, which is every other Thursday. So every Thursday we get a call for you. Go to aka.ms/community/calls. Make sure you get those invites and get them on your calendar, because these calls are like a crystal ball into what's now, what's new, and what's next. You want to see how everyone else in the world is using the technology. It's going to help make your use of it better. As a quick preview for our Tuesday call on the 26th of November, next Tuesday, John Miller is going to be back talking about Introduction to Teams Toolkit for VS Code. Paolo is going to be here with Vesa showing off implementing single sign-on SSO with the Viva Connections bot-powered ACEs created with .NET. And Eric will be here talking about building a writing coach declarative agent for Microsoft 365 Copilot. So a lot of cool things. And as you're watching today, you may think, these are really cool things that everyone is showing off. Am I able to show off cool things? You betcha. We, in fact, want you to show off cool things. And don't overthink it. You may think, well, what I've got is not that cool. It's kind of basic. Guess what? Everybody loves basic, and they need to understand basic. And there are new ones in the community, in the product, in the platform all the time that need to know about the basic things. So if you've got something cool, don't overthink it. Share it. We want to see you share it. Your passion will come through, and everyone will love it. Just go to aka.ms/community/request/demo, fill out the form, and one member of the team will get back to you, and we'll get you scheduled. And even if you need a buddy, let us know that too. We'll buddy up with you. We'll help you build the presentation, and we could even present it together. So if you're a first timer, this is a great opportunity. Please take advantage of it. And as you're seeing all these cool samples and you're like, I want to use them and I also want to contribute to them, but I don't really know how. Well, Sharing is Caring is here for you. This coming Monday is our next sample contributor session. And what is a Sharing is Caring session? Well, it's a wonderful opportunity to learn hands-on. So that means in a live Teams call, we are going to go through an actual contribution together. It is live. It is safe-spaced, which means it is not recorded. So you can ask any and all questions that you've ever wanted to know and not worry about thinking, no one else is asking this question. Should I already know the answer to this question? Now I'm afraid to ask this question. Don't be afraid. We're there to learn together, and everybody has to start somewhere. So this Monday, go sign up at aka.ms/sharingiscaring, and we'll see you there. And then, of course, once you do contribute, well, guess what? You are going to be recognized because our recognition program is alive and well and is powered by Credly. It is there to showcase the amazing achievements that you've been making in the community. All these cool badges are available now. Of course, we've got plenty, and our new snippet sorcerer for things like script samples and the Power Platform snippets, lots of great opportunities. And these are real badges that make a difference. So show your bosses, show your clients, show your managers that you are taking the extra step of making a difference in the community. And that's why you need that $1 million raise. Yep, you got it. Tell them I approved. Okay, let's get into some project-specific updates. Our first is Copilot prompts. In case you were not aware, we have a prompts library dedicated to Copilot as well as Power Platform. And this is a great way to kind of see how to use that technology that we can have access to now. And sometimes it can be overwhelming because there's so much of a wide landscape that we can take advantage of. We don't know where to start. So this is a wonderful place to do that. It's also a wonderful place to start contributing. And with that, we've got our Prompt of the Week by Guillermo. It's on creating a new known issue for a support knowledge system based on a conversation that's already happened between a team member and the customer, and it asks to kind of obfuscate and take out, redact any personal information, but include all the relevant information. So not going to read this. You can check it out on your own, but it is very, very cool. Thank you, Guillermo. Great job. Again, super easy to contribute to this, everybody. And if you're not sure about GitHub, that's where it's done. Join the Sharing is Caring session. All right, let's get into the rest of our projects, and we will see Bert, who I will promote right now. Bert, tell us more about PNP.NET libraries.
Yes, thanks, David. So for PNP.NET, we had like a productive week, I would say. First of all, we support .NET 9 now. So if you want to be on the latest and greatest of .NET, both Framework and CoreSDK are available in a natively compiled .NET 9 version. Furthermore, we did work on rate limiting. So rate limiting was there in the CoreSDK, but off by default. Now it's on by default in CoreSDK. Plus is also implemented in PNP Framework, which then also implies that it shows up in PNP PowerShell. So I think we now have rate limiting support across the board. Please test it out. Let us know how it works or doesn't work, and then we can adjust when needed. But looks promising. Then on the framework side, Erwin did some auth manager improvements. I think Gautam might talk about those. So we're kind of working on PowerShell, and that's for that reason. And then there's some other things in CoreSDK. Christian Zulik worked on some add user regression that I introduced. So sorry for that, but Christian fixed that, so it's good. Plus, we did a lot of page API improvements. Parsing reliability, inline images are better handled now. Like we have a new page header model on modern pages, on SharePoint pages. So there are some quirks in supporting that. Like if you remove the header and then you save the page with the API, the header got added again. So all these things are now fixed. Plus there's some more page stuff to come as well going forward. But yeah, that sums it up for now. Let's move to Gautam with PowerShell. Thank you all, folks.
Awesome. Thank you, Bert. Gautam, take it away.
Thanks, David. Thanks, Bert. In PNP PowerShell also version 3.0 is coming very soon. We introduced rate limiting as well based on the implementation that Bert did in PNP framework. So it is now on by default. Would absolutely love to hear your feedback on how it works in your own scripts and all. Besides that, Erwin is working on Connect PNP Online improvements for the default login experience. So from now on, whenever you use Connect PNP Online with interactive, it opens a pop-up. But we are planning on moving that towards the browser because it's a lot more better in that sense from the compliance perspective. So would absolutely love to hear your feedback on this change, which we are planning to implement in v3.0 as well. Besides that, quite a few commands like get PNP list, PNP page, field, and content type have now received autocomplete support. So whenever you use these commands, if you start with the tab, it will start automatically cycling through the available pages and lists and all of those things. What else? We also added get new and remove PNP profile card property. That's the one that you can use for in your organization adaptive card that you see everywhere. We also introduced add PNP file sensitivity label as well, which is primarily a premium graph API support. So lots of changes, bug fixes, and improvement. These are all part of the latest nightly builds. I would absolutely love to hear your feedback on how that works, because the nightly builds are based on .NET 8 and require PNP require PowerShell 7.4 support. So do test them out and let us know your feedback on that. Over to you, David. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Gautam. Lots and lots of exciting updates there. So very, very much appreciate everybody's involvement. All right. Paul could not be here today, but I will cover the script samples. There are lots of snowy November samples and updates, new scenarios for PowerShell from Casper and Reshmi, updated scenarios. Yeah, see, we're just making stuff up today. Updated scenarios, PNP PowerShell. From a number of members of the community, Ganesh and Erwin and Tilo Git and Ionius. So thank you all. Again, this is one of those super easy ways to get involved in the community and contribute, because we all have those utility scripts and samples that are available and we use. So share them. You can get a badge. This is included as part of the Snippet Sorcerer. So get involved, everybody. Super easy. Paul's a great guy. He's very welcoming. So reach out to him if you have any questions at all. And Bob is also busy with Ignite, but just wanted to remind everybody that our Copilot Pro Dev samples are available. We talked about some of these 7 new declarative agents. If you haven't checked them out, please do. They are very, very cool, and they are open for business, if you will, on new samples. So if you're working on it and figure something out that you want to share, definitely reach out to Bob and let him know as well. Again, super welcoming, very easy to collaborate with and get your samples in there. And we've got a new Power Platform sample that is available from Marvelous on a gym management app. So pretty cool. Definitely will be popular in the new year, I think, as everybody gets through the holidays and finds those new things that they want to do for the new year to shed some of those holiday pounds that they may put on, right? So very, very cool app. Thank you, Marvelous, for that. Check it out again at aka.ms/Power Platform samples. It is available to everybody, and it is open for business as well. So Kate's doing great there, and she would love to help you out. We just hit over 50. So congratulations to everybody who's been part of that journey. All right, well, the time has come. Yes, it is that picture time. So let's get those cameras turned on. We got together mode turned on. Looks like it's working pretty well. There is some clarity, and we'll start getting Camtasia set up here. And there we go. Move it out of the way. All right. I see a cat. I see a SharePoint monkey. Looking good. Great to see everybody. All right. Let's see. Just a couple more seconds. We're doing good on time. So if you want to turn those cameras on, I know sometimes it's a little latent. We'll give everybody just another little. Yep. He's got the he's got the paws out there going on. It's monkey business. Oh, that's Vesa. I didn't know that. He's hiding behind the monkey. I gotta get a monkey sound effect now. Ooh, I guess. Okay, let's start waving to the community, everybody. Looking great. Let's show everybody how awesome you are. Thank you all for being here. Great to see you all. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Appreciate all of the amazing work that you all are doing each and every week. And we know there's a lot of distractions this time of year, so appreciate you taking the time to be with us. All right, so let's move back to our regularly scheduled program, and that means we are going to welcome to the stage our 3 fantastic presenters of the day. Mohammed is here to talk about how to build Microsoft Graph custom connector for Microsoft 365 roadmap content. So Mohammed, if you would like to take over the screen share and take it away, the floor is yours, my friend.
Okay. So before I start, a little bit about myself. I am Mohammed, a Microsoft 365 and SharePoint developer and tech lead at Atea Global Services. I am passionate about contributing to the community and crafting solutions for Teams and SharePoint online. You can connect with me on social platforms that mentioned in the slide. Also, check out my GitHub repo samples and my blog website. The agenda for today is going to be about an introduction about graph connectors, the challenges, then the solution, and then how to build a custom graph connector for Microsoft 365 roadmap content. Then some prerequisites for our sample and minimal path to awesome. And then the fun part, which is exploring the code and demo and the GitHub repo sample. So in today's rapidly evolving digital workplace, Microsoft 365 is at the forefront of delivering innovative features and updates that enhance productivity and collaboration. However, keeping up with these frequent changes and aligning them with your organization's need can be a little bit challenging. Microsoft 365's roadmap includes, and all of us know, hundreds of features spanning across multiple services like Teams, SharePoint, and Outlook. Staying informed about all these features often requires manually checking the roadmap site or relying on periodic updates, which can lead to missed opportunities or delaying of some adoption. The roadmap updates are not natively integrated with tools that organizations use to track and manage features rollouts. And the challenges here is that Microsoft roadmap includes hundreds of features, and it's not easy to stay informed about all these features. And the roadmap updates, as I mentioned, are not natively integrated with tools that organizations use. Then what would be the solution? The solution could be a Microsoft Graph custom connector for Microsoft 365 roadmap content. Why? Because Microsoft Graph connector let you centralize the content on Microsoft 365 by importing external content, which is Microsoft 365 roadmap content, to Microsoft 365. You not only make it easier to find relevant information, but also let others in your organization discover new content. In this demo, I'm focusing only on building a custom connector for ingesting the content of Microsoft 365 roadmap features updates. And the custom connector uses Microsoft Graph APIs to create external connection and deploy the schema to communicate with Graph APIs, and then it authenticates with Microsoft 365 using a Microsoft Entra app registration. There are three main steps in order to achieve that. First, configuring a Microsoft Entra app ID registration, and you should grant the application permissions that are mentioned here, the external connection .readwrite.o&by, which allows the connector to create the connection and deploy the schema. Also, the external item readwrite.o&by, which allows the connector to ingest external items. Both permissions allow the connector to only access the connection and items it owns, which is the recommended security practice. I have created this Microsoft Entra app registration to save some time, so it's ready. And also I added the client ID, tenant ID, secret key, and it's saved in my C# console app that we are going to present today. The second configuration that we would need in order to build the custom graph connector is create an external connection. A custom graph connector creates an external connection using the external connection Microsoft Graph endpoint. And when creating a connection, you need to specify its ID, name, description. The ID must be unique in your Microsoft 365. Then the last part for our configuration is deploying the schema. After create an external connection, you should deploy the schema. The schema consists of one or more properties. For each property, you need to specify its name and type of data it stores. You can also define whether its data should be used for full text search and sorting. Then after that, you can add one or more semantic labels that help Microsoft 365 understanding what information the property represents. For running our console app that will create the connection, the schema for us, it's a console app, and in order for our app to run, we have some prerequisites. And the prerequisites, Microsoft 365 developer tenant, also .NET 8, Microsoft PowerShell, and the Entra app ID that I mentioned in the previous slide. Also, there are some minimal paths to awesome by cloning the repository that I will share in a moment with you, and adding the information about Entra app ID to the project secrets. This is something easy that you can do by running these commandlets by initializing the user secrets, then set the client ID, client secret, tenant ID for your console app. Building the project, all of us know, I believe, .NET build to build your project, and then .NET run provision connection command to create the external connection, and then ingesting the content to Microsoft 365 by running this commandlet in the console app, .NET run load content. One more thing that you could add to improve how the search results in your SharePoint will look like is adding a result type in the admin center for having a different layout for the Microsoft 365 roadmap content in your search results in SharePoint. We will see that in a moment. Then let's maybe exploring the code. It's a simple console app. You can find it in the GitHub repo. Yeah, it's under Graph Connector Samples. And this is a screenshot of how you will see the results when you search for maybe SharePoint in the SharePoint search page to get results about Microsoft 365 roadmap. Why I'm showing you the results here from the screenshots? Because guess what? I prepared for my demo yesterday, but today when I tested before our demo, I haven't seen the result type that I added for Microsoft 365 roadmap. However, I added here one vertical for Microsoft 365 roadmap content. It's not here. but yeah, it happens. So this is why I'm showing you how the results will be in your SharePoint search page. Okay, let's exploring the code. I have one configuration to set the URL that I will be using to get XML content of Microsoft 365 roadmap. In the connection configuration, I have set the external connection and its properties, which is the ID, name, and description. This will be unique ID for the graph connector in your tenant. Also, the schema that I created is also very simple, just title, description, icon URL, and URL. Definitely you can contribute and add more properties because we have more properties in the roadmap content, like the general availability date and lots of data still we can ingest, like yeah, all these categories about the general availability of every roadmap feature, and all these categories, and the published date and the updated date and the GA date. Going back to the schema, yeah, this is how it looks. And then also I have set up my graph client by passing the client ID, client secret tenant ID this way. And the first thing that we should do after building the project is to run the command that will create the connection. And by running this command, it will create the connection to Microsoft 365 using Graph APIs. And then it will create the schema. Yeah, so provisioning the connection contains two functions, one to create the connection and one to create the schema. Once we create the connection and schema, we will be ready to ingest our content. The content service here, it has a definition for the RSS item and also the RSS channel and the channel, because I'm retrieving the XML data of Microsoft 365 and loading it to Microsoft 365 using our graph connector. Yeah, and here in the content service, I am relying on these three main functions: extract and transform and loading the content. Let's maybe try to run the demo. I believe that it will take time to load the content. I already loaded the content, but I can maybe run it in the background while exploring the results in SharePoint. So I run the .NET Run to build my project, and here from the program, we can also create the connection. It's already created, but let's see what it will give us. Okay, let's take it from our slides. Yeah, I forgot to add run.NET Run again. It will say something like this connection is already created, because it's already created in my tenant, but it will just make sure that it is created. Let's just check here. Yeah, it's here. And these are the properties of my graph, custom graph connector for roadmap content. Yeah, the specified resource name already exists. Let's also try to load the content. It's already loaded and it will take time, but let's run it in the background to also show you how it will work by loading all the XML data that we extracted from the roadmap content and loading it to Microsoft Graph. Yeah, it's loading it items one by one. And in the meanwhile, let's check maybe it will work. So this is the graph connector. And in the customization, I added also this vertical to see the results related to Microsoft Roadmap feature. But for some reasons, I don't see it here. However, I made sure yesterday that it's here and it's returning results. But yeah, anyway, this is how it will look like if you search for maybe SharePoint. And we have maybe some related features to SharePoint, like SharePoint Copilot in SharePoint. And I wanted to say here that this screenshot has been taken long time ago when it was Copilot in SharePoint. And also, yeah, some other features related to SharePoint like that. Yeah, wanted also to last thing to show it to you here is the result type. You can customize your result type here to customize the result that you will see in the Microsoft search. Important thing also that your content of Microsoft roadmap in Microsoft 365 is also could be found in Copilot. By asking Copilot, you will get results about Microsoft Roadmap content.
This is awesome stuff, Mohammed. Thank you. Just a friendly reminder. Oh, you're wrapping up on the references. Awesome.
Yes. So these are the references, and thank you. And feel free to review the sample code in GitHub. I would love to hear from you about any potential updates or enhancements you identify. Thank you. Back to you, David.
Awesome. Thank you, Mohammed. Really, really cool stuff. And the roadmap, being able to keep track of it is super, super valuable. So thanks for sharing that. Links are in the chat. Everybody will also have them in the show notes. All right, just due to time, we'll move on pretty quickly here. So Martin is going to join us on team shared voicemail for basic call flows. So Martin, feel free to take over the screen share and take it away.
Yes, thank you, David. Yeah, let's jump right in. So this is about the team shared voicemail and a more efficient solution using Microsoft 365 groups, SharePoint, and Power Automate to kind of get a better experience for your end users. So very quickly about me, I work for Julian Loki as a senior Microsoft 365 engineer. I'm based in Zurich. I live in Staffa, which is very near to Zurich. I'm an MVP in Microsoft 365 apps and services, obviously for Teams, and now since this year also for Azure PowerShell. And yeah, when I'm not working, I like to enjoy TV shows, playing games, tinker around with Power Automate. I'm not doing too much with that at my day job, but it's kind of it's become kind of a hobby of mine. So yeah, I also like to blog, running, and I follow Formula One very closely. So what is this about? It's about shared voicemail, as I already said, on auto attendance and call queues. If you don't know what they are like building blocks, and they are used to kind of build the configuration for your main number, your support number, any kind of customer service number, or any number that needs to reach multiple people through Teams phone. And shared voicemail is typically used when no one is available to answer a call. So on the right side, we can see an example of a very basic call flow. So on the top, we have the call coming in, and on the bottom, the call would time out because no agent or no person was able to answer it, and then it goes to a shared voicemail. And shared voicemails, they're sent typically to a Microsoft 365 group or distribution list, but in most cases it's a 365 group. So it's the group that gets the emails and not really people, and that it has some advantages and disadvantages, or pros or cons. So obviously, one advantage is that multiple people get the emails, so there's no bottlenecks. It's not like a single person or a single point of failure if somebody's out of the office, etc. New members of these groups, they get access to all the previous emails because it's not like a distribution list, so they can just go back and see all the emails that already came into the group before they even started or were added to a group. It doesn't require a license. And in many cases, a team for that group might already exist. So if you have a team you use for your call queue, you could also just route the voicemail calls to the group of this team. Yeah, so it's easier to manage if you can just use one object or the different parts of the same logical object. On the con side, we have that by default, the emails, they go into the group inbox. So it's always a little bit tricky to know who actually reads the group emails because members can subscribe to these group emails or not. If you're subscribed, you get the group emails in your personal inbox. If you don't do that, you would have to constantly monitor the group inbox and regularly check it. Has there been new voicemail or not? So it's very difficult to manage as IT admins. As we can never know if we have to build some custom stuff. So if you're not familiar with it, this is the Outlook user experience for an end user. On the right, we have one user, which is Amer, and she's now currently in her personal inbox, but you can see the to field. It says it's the name of the group from the Microsoft 365 group. So this PS test EV enabled CQ, that's the name of the group. And on the right side, you can see that this is the group inbox, and yeah, there's this following inbox setting. By default, it's set to only notify you of when you directly receive an email or somebody replies to you, but not receive all. So if it's set to receive all, you'll get the emails like on the right side in your personal inbox as well. We can enable this as an administrator, which is one way of making sure that everybody gets the shared voicemails. But the thing is that members can override this at any time. So they can just go to their Outlook client and choose to not follow again. So it's kind of like a cat and mouse game, and you always have to catch up to your users and make sure nobody's unfollowing these emails if they should be receiving it. We can also read it through PowerShell. So we have get unified group links to read and add to subscribe back somebody if they decided to unfollow the group. And here on the right side in the PowerShell window, you can see the command is get unified group link both times, but one time it's link type member, the next time is subscriber. So if you pay attention, you can see that there is one ID more for the members, which means this ID, the one that's circled in blue, this member is not actually following or subscribing to the group inbox. So they only get to see the messages if they go into the group mailbox. If you don't like this view, or if it's too complicated, you can also use the call flow visualizer, which is a tool I created, and it's freely available on GitHub. So this can be used to create a diagram of any configured call flow in Teams. It has many options, like the parameter show shared voicemail group subscribers. And if we do that, we get a like username, not just an ID. And we can see, for example, in this case, the call, it just goes to shared voicemail. And then there's like 4 people who are subscribing, but this person, Evelyn, she's not getting email notifications directly. Yeah, the tool is great for documenting and troubleshooting. So if you do a lot of stuff with Teams Phone, if you don't know the tool, I highly recommend to check it out. As I said, it's available for free. So what's the problem with all of this? It's a little bit strange that calls on the one side, they are received in Teams, but the voicemails, we get them in Outlook. Seems kind of strange. And without following inbox, probably no one listens to these voicemails, and no one calls back either because they didn't hear it in the first place. And if all the members are subscribed, depending on the team size, like if you have 5 or more people in there, you need to like really coordinate who's calling back, and you also need to inform them every time somebody has been called back, because you don't want to be calling back 2 times or more times even. Or you don't want the people to think that if there's 10 members, everybody will think somebody will call back, but in the end nobody calls back. So it's kind of not an ideal situation to deal with this. So, and there's a thing that the members could, like I said, unfollow at any time. So one thing would be to, I don't know, create like an automation, but that seems like overkill or also not very practical. So a much more practical solution could look like this, what I'm showing you today. So we have the voicemail, which is received as an email in an Exchange Online or the group mailbox. And then we can use a Power Automate flow to trigger when a new email arrives in that mailbox. We can extract the MP3 attachment, which contains the voicemail message, and we can upload it to SharePoint. And then we can send an adaptive card with the media embedded directly into the card to Teams channel, and then everybody will just get a notification in Teams. Sorry, forgot to show you the services and the icons. And yeah, this is kind of like how the flow works. It's more or less just what I said, just a little bit more in details for the flow. So it will take the email and then initialize some variables like caller name, caller email address, etc., because we need all of these things. But I'll just go ahead and show you the flow online. So I want to start with Outlook very quickly. So again, I have my user Evelyn. So in this inbox, you don't see any emails, but if I go to Amer, you could see here in my inbox or in her inbox, there's a voicemail, a shared voicemail. You can see that it was sent to a group here. And if I go back to Evelyn and switch to the groups, we can see, so because she's not subscribed, she'd have to go in here on the groups every time. And from my experience, it's just not what the users are doing. So let's go to the flow. I'm not going to do like a live voicemail. I'm just going to resubmit an old flow because I already left a voicemail earlier. So I can just reuse this again to trigger it. And I'll kind of just go through the flow as we do this. So I'm going to resubmit this. So the trigger is when a new email arrives to a group, so it's going directly to the group. There's no shared mailbox involved or no user mailbox involved or anything. It's really taking the Microsoft 365 group. Then it's initializing a bunch of variables, like when was the voicemail received. So I use this to calculate like how long did it take the team to call back that caller who left the voicemail. We're going to calculate the call duration, etc. And then there's some stuff in there because it's a message to a group email. We also need to get a thread post, and then we create the file on SharePoint, compose a couple of things, and finally there is also a notification. So there's a parallel branch here. So one branch is sending the adaptive card and waiting for a response, and the other branch is notifying the members. So we don't need to rely on the members to subscribe to the channel through their Teams notifications. I'll show you what I mean in just a second. So if I go over to Evelyn's Teams, I can now see there's a new adaptive card in the voicemail channel. I can see there's a new activity here. So that's a feed notification that was posted through Power Automate. So she can't really disable this unless she disables the notifications for the Workflows app in general. But normally she gets a notification whether or not she has the channel notifications here turned. They are off, so she still gets a notification. On the other hand, Emma didn't get a feed notification, but she can still see the card. That's because there is a tag which can be used. There's a notification tag, and she's not part of that. So only the members of this tag. That's like one additional element we have to control about who gets the notifications or not. So let's look at the card. As I've said, we can play it right here in Teams. We can directly call back the person who left the voicemail. I can just click the button, it will come up and ask me to start a call. Obviously, we need PSTN license for this, but if you are allowed or set up to make external calls, we could just call back from here. That also works on the mobile phone, on the mobile app. We could open the MP3, which was just go to SharePoint. But yeah, once the caller is called back and the action is complete, all I have to do, or all she has to do, is just click call completed, and that will report back to Power Automate. Basically, the flow will continue, and then the card will update, so it becomes green. This happens for all the members in the channel or who have access to the channel, so everybody knows immediately when somebody has clicked call completed. They all know that this action is done. There's nothing to be done anymore. They can also see who completed the action. So if they have a question or anything, they can just see who did it and go back to them. We can also get the voicemail back by clicking on voicemail details, so we can listen to it again if we need to. Maybe we closed it on accident, or maybe we need to listen to it again. We could call again from another user in this case, or we could open the MP3 on stream again. And we also get some metrics, like how long did it take. So in this case, I was talking for 2 minutes before completing the call, and then depending on like how long it took, we get a different smiley face. So it might turn to a sad smiley face if it takes a very long time to complete this. But in that case, because I did it very fast, it's okay. It's a smiley face. So let's get back to the flow very quickly. Yeah, so this is sending an adaptive card. If you don't know about these, there is adaptivecards.io where you can design these cards. It's essentially just a JSON payload that's being sent to Teams with the different buttons and everything. And as soon as the person clicked on call completed, the flow continues, and then we can record the time. This is just UTC now. When did the call, or when was the button pressed, so we can calculate how long did it take. And then depending on that, we set the different URL for the emoji. We read in the responder name, so we can get the information who clicked on the button. Then we get the message ID, so we can then update the card. Show this maybe in the editor. Yeah, this is the JSON here for the adaptive card. With the updated card, it's so big because the old card is included again, because they have the possibility to show the details again. And for some reason, if anybody needs to like get the files, we can just switch to the files tab of this channel, and we'll have all voicemails here. So this was 6 minutes ago. That was me before. Yeah, that was the demo, and here's the link to all my socials. If you want to check out my other stuff or connect with me, feel free to reach out to me at any time. And that was it. Thank you very much, and back to David.
Awesome, Martin. Very, very cool stuff. This is really, really cool. A lot of great chat in the chat river and everything. So put the links in there. Martin has some blogs and some information about that. Definitely check it out. Just for time purposes, we've got a first-time presenter coming up. Well, first time today, right? We've got the Emperor of Equestrians, the one and only Chris Kent. And we will go long, everybody, so that Chris can show his full demo. So if you got to drop, don't sweat it. We'll have it recorded. Chris, if you want to take on over.
Oh, yeah. What up, Wowee? Wow. All right, I'm Chris. Here we go. We're going to talk about some things here. All right. So, believe it or not, it's been 7 months or so since the last time we had an update on this Jsonify. So, good news. Now we got another one. So, I'm very excited about this update. Of course, I'm always excited about these updates. But this one is going to provide some language features. So, we added syntax highlighting about 7 months ago, which is very exciting. If we take a look at that, it looks, ooh, oh, so ugly. What is this? Oh, gosh, I can't stand it. And then the GIF goes, oh, my gosh. And it's so beautiful. And that's the warrior horse theme, but you can have your own theme as needed. But let's go ahead and jump over there. I'm going to show you what's new in Jsonify. Maybe. Let's see. Waha. Boom. There we go. Okay. So, for those who aren't familiar, Jsonify is a VS Code extension. VS Code is free. Jsonify is free. And they are very quick to download and install and all that. And once you do, you can open up things like the list formatting samples repo or your own folder where you've got your own things going on, right? Whether those are HTML or SVGs or the JSON files themselves. All of those work. So I've shown this a couple of times, the idea that you can take an HTML file, right? You write this HTML here. I've got some inline styles up here. I've got some, or inline styles down here. I've got some classes defined up here and so on. And when I convert this to an SVList format, right, we see that it just happens. I get the format. I'm going to skip the whole demoing it in the site. We're just going to, trust me, that totally worked, guys. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yep. All right. And one of the things that's cool about that is that you'll see that these classes automatically get stripped out. Certain types like H1 tags get automatic default styles. In other words, it matches as close as possible to the HTML you or your designer, whoever wrote, and then you can customize from there. Now, what gets more interesting though is when you start to get into some of these expressions, right? So this is where you start to see that syntax highlighting showing up here. So there it is. You can see you've got a current field and so on. Wow, 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 wow. But now what we've added is some language features. So now that if I hover over things like this, we can actually see things about it. So now we have inline documentation of all sorts of things as we do this. And we can even get some auto completion and so on. So if I wanted to say instead of the current field equals yes, I want to do something like, get rid of that. I could say starts with, you see I start to get things like that. But if I hit like, control space, I get all these suggestions. And we can even kind of bring those out and you can see details as you scroll through them to see exactly what you're talking about. Like, what is the B? Oh, it's the current user's email. Right, and that's pretty exciting. We come down here, we've got our functions here, and if we we'll bring that thing back in, so we can just see our nice little tip there. So you can see exactly what these things do. So if you're ever wondering what functions are available, what do they do, how do they work, here you go. Right, so now you can say things like, let's do that starts with. Right, now you'll see we also have what's called suggestion helpers. I think that's what it's called. I can't remember what it's called. Support nested operator signature help providers. That's what it's called. Right, where you can see as you write a function, it not only tells you what each individual parameter does as you type them, right? So this is the target. So we say like at me again, right? If I want to say at me, then I can see my search term automatically gets highlighted. I also have examples of exactly how that's going to work. So if you forget which one goes where, all of that works with the nesting. Woo, woo, woo. Right, and then we also have this idea. So we got this, we got the autocomplete, we got the all the hover cards, and if you haven't seen it, you could even have your own .nav files because, you could if you wanted. This is an embedded language, but as an embedded language inside your JSON, it also has its own full language support here. So if you ever wanted to see kind of what's available, right, or find out more about this documentation, all of these things are here, right? So you can just kind of hover over any and everything. Get all of this detail, all that's directly from the documentation. And the idea is when you're opening up a format, right, sometimes these can be really, really difficult to even know what's going on, right? Like find out where is the dynamic part, where are the expressions even happening, right? So having the colors can be really helpful. But more than that, it can just be hard sometimes to remember what is the exact syntax. Sometimes the properties are lowercase, sometimes they're camel case, sometimes they're uppercase, because that's fun. So something like this could really help you with that. So check it out. It's free. And I'm just going to cut it off there, and I'll just go back to my slides, and I'm going to do this super quick. Wow! There we go. And the last thing here is just some links for you. So what I've got here is a link to the list formatting repo, where we've got 200 plus samples, which you can open up if you want to download that as a zip, or you wanted to clone the repo and fork it, or whatever you wanted to do there. And if you're not familiar with what the heck I just said, David Warner has got some exciting intro getting started classes for you on GitHub and all that to explain it. But again, you could also just go there and hit that download zip, open in VS Code, and you've got access to all the samples, and you can start exploring right away. And you've got inline documentation that'll explain what the sample's doing at an expression level pretty quick. And then I didn't really mention these today, but I always like to mention SP Formatter. There's a couple of extensions there. There's a VS Code and Edge one that really make formatting inside the browser a lot easier, and it works really nicely with Jsonify. So you can be generating these things, having it up automatically, updating them, and demoing over in your site all at the same time. If you haven't seen that, there are some demos already out there somewhere about those. And then lastly, just because I think it's fun, if you notice the horses in my VS Code extension or VS Code window, you could have those too, right, with VS Code pets, and it's not just horses. So check those out, and that's it for me. I did it. Woo!
Wowee! Excellent.
Wowee!
Thank you, Mr. Kent. Chris, a very good job. Yeah, those pets are fun, and Chris has even embedded some fun little Easter eggs in there for some of his friends, so we appreciate that. All right, everybody. Well, thank you all for attending, and a special thank you to all of our presenters, Mohammed, Martin, and Chris. You guys are amazing. We appreciate it, and everyone else on the call that's taken time out to join, especially this week where you're busy with Ignite, no doubt. We appreciate the passion and camaraderie that you all bring to the calls each and every week. If you would like to get more involved with the community and other places and new places to collaborate, we've got our Discord server. This is a fairly newer place that kind of spans the spectrum of things that you can see, and we've got 2,300. Look at that. Copilot just updated for us. Wow, it wasn't me in the background at all. But it is a one-stop shop, and it is absolutely free, and you can, at the very least, you can impress the kids that you are a cool parent in Discord. They'll be like, wow, mom and dad are awesome. So get involved. It's free to join. We'll see you there. And it would be great if you could give us some feedback on the calls. We'd love to know if things are working. If they're not working, what is working? Please let us know if there's areas of improvement. And just, hey, let us know if we're doing a good job. We'd love to see that too. Well, the recording will be available in 24 hours on the Microsoft Community Learning YouTube channel. You can get access to that at aka.ms/community/YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. You'll be alerted as soon as new videos are dropped. You can also follow us on X or Twitter. You can follow us on LinkedIn. We will be having a Blue Sky account coming up here soon, so that's exciting. The next M365 Power Platform, December 5th. Wow, already into December. And the next Viva Connections SharePoint Framework, yes, next Thursday. You may be thinking, if you're in the States, that's Thanksgiving. Well, you're right, but it's not anywhere else, and we're a global community, so we are going to support our entire community and make sure we still have a call. Chris Kent will actually be here leading it. I'll be here, so it'll be great, and would love to see anybody and everybody that would love to start their day that way. Again, thank you for everyone that is participating in the community. You all do amazing. Have a great rest of your week, a wonderful rest of Ignite, and a wonderful weekend. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye. Wowee.
Bye-wee.
Bye, everybody.